What's up guys, welcome to your 17th biology tutorial, and in this video I want to talk to you guys about transporting materials through the plasma membrane or cell membrane, whatever you want to call it. So we already know that things need to get across the plasma membrane, and that's because, first of all, cells create things for other parts of the body, so obviously when they're created inside the cell, they need to ship out towards other parts of the body, therefore crossing the plasma membrane. And aside from that, things need to get inside the cell because whenever a cell needs energy, it uses particles from food. So obviously it also gets like oxygen and stuff. Those things need to get inside the cell so the cell can break them down, use them for energy, and we'll talk about exactly how the cell does that later on. But that is the reason why a cell would need something from outside to come inside, again, crossing the plasma membrane. So simple enough. So that is why things need to transport across the plasma membrane, all those materials. But let's go ahead and talk about how they do this. Well, whenever you have a really small molecule like oxygen is really small, or I don't know what else, carbon dioxide is an example, these are really small molecules or particles that can go ahead and pretty much slide across the membrane easy. So those things are always flowing in and out, and it doesn't really take a lot of work from anything else. So they can pass through the plasma membrane relatively easy without any complex method. However, certain other things, like, let me go ahead and choose a color, and let me go ahead and choose red. So, a larger molecule like food is actually a really large molecule. It can't go ahead and just cross this with ease without anyone noticing because it's so big, and those phospholipids are packed together so tightly, it can't just slide across like, I don't know, oxygen can, because it's a lot bigger than oxygen. So whenever the cell needs energy, it needs food, but it needs a way to get that inside the cell. So whenever larger molecules need to get inside the cell, they need help from proteins. And I know in the last tutorial I drew a diagram of the membrane and I showed you guys the phospholipids and the proteins, and I pretty much just drew the proteins there, and I'm like, don't worry about what they do, we're going to be talking about it in the next tutorial. Well, this is the tutorial. So, like I said, whenever a larger molecule needs to get inside the cell, it uses proteins. But what exactly does a protein do? Well, some proteins form openings called channels. And a channel is basically exactly like it sounds. It pretty much forms a channel or an opening that allows larger molecules to pass through. Alright, that's one job. Another job, however, is with carrier proteins. Carrier proteins. Now, carrier proteins are pretty much exactly like they sound too. They pretty much pick up a molecule on one side of the cell. So say we have some food over here, it can't just pass through or else it'll get stuck. So what a carrier protein will do is actually pick this up, kind of like taking it on a piggyback ride, and drop it off on the other side of the plasma membrane. So it picks it up on one side, carries it, hence the term carrier protein, and drops it off on the other side of the membrane. So those are two jobs of proteins. Again, one type forms channels, the other type literally picks up a larger molecule, carries it across the membrane, and drops it off. And if you're saying, all right, like what do they have, arms or something? Well, they attach to them, and we're going to be looking at these processes later on, and we're going to be talking about this more, especially when we learn about how cells turn food into energy. But for right now, the key things that we have to take out of this tutorial is that cells create things for other parts of the body, and they also need things to come inside them to form various things, energy, stuff like that. So that is why things need to transport across the plasma membrane. Also, smaller molecules like oxygen and CO2, they can pass through really easy, so they don't need the help of anything else. However, larger molecules such as food, as we looked at in this example, they need help from proteins, and proteins either form channels right here or come in the form of carrier proteins, which pick up the molecules and drop them off on the other side of the cell. So that is all you get for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to be looking at different methods of transportation. It's going to be sweet. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys later.